Sometimes love isn't enough. As an adoptive mom, people would often say this to me, as if to imply I couldn't love my son enough to change behaviors or heal his trauma, so I should probably just give up. At least that's how I took those four powerful words, which had buried themselves deeply in my mind, leading me to doubt my ability to parent my child. Sometimes love isn't enough. That is the truth. Oftentimes, you need love and powerful, personalized tools to raise a child who's experienced trauma and disrupted attachment, or a child who you're struggling to connect with. I am on a mission to help parents raising kids with a tricky past to show up with unconditional love and practical tools to lovingly manage even the most challenging of times. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast and follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Plus, if you like what you hear, I'd love for you to leave a review. Now let's get to the good stuff. Welcome back to Sometimes Love Isn't Enough. So I am your host, Angie Grandt. I'm with Connected Parents with Angie. And for today's episode, I actually want to talk about praise and how praise can really create people pleasers. So let's just first talk about praise. I know for those of you who have been following along, I have a long history in ABA, in the behavior world. That is where I built my career, gained my experience, really fell in love with working with kids, was in that realm. So I spent 20 plus years there. I am now in a different field that really aligns so much more closely with my beliefs and my with my beliefs about how to support families. But nonetheless, I gained so many valuable tools in my time there. And one of the core components of how I was really trained to help kids learn skills was through praise, right? We teach a child to do a skill and we praise them when they try it, when they eventually can do it on their own. We use praise as a way to build a child's skill set. So and I know over the years, I was often the one who really helped our staff to really understand that praise needed to be valuable to the kiddos. It couldn't just be a good job over and over again, because how unfun is that for staff and for children? Really helping our staff learn how to keep it exciting and variable and as specific to what the child was doing as possible. And so using praise as a way to change behavior is so strongly ingrained in me and the way that I interact with kids and helping them learn things. But over the last couple of years, as I've been learning more about myself, more about the Enneagram, more about human design and gene keys, and really what drives us to be the people that we are, one thing that I learned when I first learned about Enneagram is one of the core components of who I am is a people pleaser. So what does that mean? It means that I will go above and beyond to make sure that other people are happy before I even identify what I want or what matters to me. And as I've been learning about this, like I said, I first really identified this with the Enneagram. It is a core of I am an lead with an Enneagram 9, and the 9 is a people pleaser. I know that a lot of people who are in the helping professions tend to fall into that bucket of being people pleasers, right? It's part of what we do. We want others to be happy. We want others to heal. We want others to reach their highest goals, whatever that might mean. But the more that I study myself and learn about all of that, I realize that it is how I was designed, right? So I'm not saying that anybody did anything wrong in my upbringing. It is how I'm designed. But the more that I learn about that, the more that I realize that oftentimes when there is like when those of us who are people pleasers feel frustration, feel I don't know, like alone or like we don't fit in, It's because honestly, we don't even necessarily identify what matters to us because we've been putting all of our energy into trying to figure out how to keep everybody else happy. And I know that this people pleasing thing can look so different for all of us. I know that some people in my life would probably say I don't seem like a people pleaser, but I know even as I'm trying to work through this, I still really struggle to make decisions for myself for what makes me happy. And so as I've been listening to more parenting professionals, and in particular, one of my current coaches, who she's a developmental specialist and really is, I'm going through her family coach certification program and becoming certified in parenting by design, which I'm so excited about. But she's really opened my eyes, as well as some other trainings from my other coaches, to really see that the words that we say to our kids can have such a powerful impact on their how do I say this? Like they're veering towards being a people pleaser or veering towards being more self-fulfilling. And I'm not saying that, caring about others is wrong, but what I do know is that when all of our energy is put into trying to figure out how to help others, it's next to impossible to fulfill our own purpose. I know that I and you, everyone on this planet has a purpose to fulfill. Whether or not we choose to take that challenge is totally up to us, but we all have a purpose. I know that my purpose is helping parents to be really sensitive to the needs of their kids. My purpose is really to help parents see how to show up for their kids, even when their kids are literally and figuratively throwing everything they can at them to challenge these lovely parents. I know that that's my purpose. Not only do I know that in my heart, but it's in my design. It is in my human design that my purpose is about sensitivity and helping others to really be sensitive to the needs of those that matter most to them. And when I am working so hard at trying to make sure everybody else is happy, I can't fulfill my purpose. So, back to when we think about our kids, right? When we're using praise to help guide our kids' decisions about what action they take, praise can be very detrimental, actually. I know that some people may not receive that feedback very well until you really think it through, because I know I had a hard time really wrapping my head around, wait, what? I thought praise was so good. I thought praise helped our kids feel so proud. And it can, but as we are creating the next generation of humans who have their own purpose on this planet, it is our duty to make sure that we are taking steps to really evaluate the way that we show up for our kids, the way that we help build their sense of self so that they can fulfill their purpose, so that they can show up the way that they need to. And so I see this every day in the work that I do. I was actually working with a family who I've been milling around this idea of doing a podcast about praise creating people pleasers for some time now, maybe 2 months. It's been milling around in my head. And I was talking with a family just the other day, and the parent asked me that question, does praise create people pleasers? And I just thought, yep, it's time to make this podcast. And the discussion that we had was that when we tell our kids, wow, good job, you did such a great job, that's exactly how you do it. When we are telling our kids that, what we are telling them in essence is, you did that the way that I wanted you to. You did that thing, whatever that is, in a way that pleases me. When we're praising our kids in a way that we're telling them, good job, you did that exactly as you were supposed to, we're teaching them to take action that makes me happy, not themselves. And when I think about raising this current generation in a way that they feel powerful, that they know exactly what they want in life and how to tackle it and how to show up for others in a really powerful way, they have to know how to build their own sense of self-worth. They have to know how to build their own sense of pride, not to do what makes mom or dad happy. So the real question is, how in the world do we do this? And I can tell you, as somebody who, like I said, it is, it just, the praise just flows out of my mouth. Good job. You did such a good job. Wow, you're so smart. You did such a great job of, wiping the table or whatever it is, right? This praise just flows out of my mouth nonstop, especially as we have a toddler in our home and she's learning so many skills. But I'm really working on shifting the words that come out of my mouth to help this toddler that I love so much to really be more self-reflective. And of course, there requires a bit of a cognitive awareness in order for a kiddo to adapt these skills that I'm trying to show her. But instead of saying like, wow, you did such a great job wiping the table, instead of saying that, I'm really working on trying to say things like, oh, you wiped the table. Does that make you feel proud? Did you like wiping the table? Is that something that's fun for you? I'm really trying to, instead of making that praise about me, like you made me happy, I'm really working on making the feedback that I give her to help her be more self-reflective. And it's not easy. It's not flowing smoothly out of my mouth. I really have to think about my words, but I'm going at it with that same level of enthusiasm that I approach so many things in life. And I'm really working on helping her identify her own emotions instead of teaching her to notice how her behavior impacts others. I'm really helping her see too, like, wow, your face looks proud, or you look so excited when for example, yesterday we were out for dinner and we went out with a big group of friends and we're all just kind of chit-chatting after dinner. And my granddaughter comes over to me and asks me, we ate outside and, it's like a gravel driveway. And my granddaughter comes over and asked me to pick weeds with her. It was the sweetest, cutest thing. So I went over and was picking weeds with her. And after she'd get a weed out of the ground, she'd get this big grin on her face. And so instead of saying like, wow, you did such a good job, instead of saying that, I said, wow, you look so proud. Do you like picking weeds? And she right away says, yeah, pick more weeds. She's so excited about it. But I'm really trying to shift the way that I'm showing up. And I'm seeing this shift in my whole family as everybody's, really responding differently and trying to help this little one see that her job is not to make us happy at all. That is not why she was put on this planet. She was not put here to keep us happy. She has a purpose, and it has nothing to do with making us happy. And so that's my challenge for you as you wrap up listening to this episode and listen to it on repeat, because if you're anything like me, this is a real shift in the way that you think about things, but I think it's so incredibly powerful in how we really support this next generation who's so dependent on technology and what social media is telling them is good or bad or right or wrong or whatever it might be. I think it is our duty to help raise this next generation to really have their own sense of self and what matters to them, instead of them looking for all of this external stimuli, external feedback, external praise. They get enough of that on social media, enough feedback. Let's teach them how to have it within themselves. So that's it for this episode. I hope that you found this one powerful. Man, I would love your feedback on this one because it's definitely changing the way that I look at child rearing for sure. So take care. Talk soon. I hope that you found this episode so incredibly powerful. Thank you for joining us for Sometimes Love Isn't Enough. If you resonated with what you heard here, please subscribe to this podcast and give us a review. You can also follow us on all the socials. Check the show notes for all the details about how to start tackling behaviors and creating a powerful, loving relationship with your child, a child who needs your love the most. And if your gut's telling you that it's time for a change now, book a free consult. I'd love to help you love unconditionally and show you that you have that power within you.